A common mistake people make is thinking that to win your draft, you just got to take the best player on the board. And yeah, that's pretty common sense. That's usually how it goes. But you also need to make sure you're capitalizing on the value and drafting based on your league settings and the platform you're drafting on. ADP, average draft position. You want to make sure that you're taking the best players available in the round where they're undervalued, right? You don't want to reach on guys that are overvalued, overpriced. Sure, maybe Jamar Chase, that's a bad example. Maybe Christian McCaffrey has insane upside, insane ceiling this season. But guess what? I'm not going to be paying a 6th overall pick in the first round for CMC. I'm going to be paying for somebody else undervalued. So that's how you want to play and win your fantasy football league. We're talking about a bunch of gaps in the ADP and ways to exploit it this season to win your league. Smash the like and subscribe button. Let's start talking about quarterbacks, because quarterbacks, you only start one unless you're in a super flex. So the first people that I want to say are being drafted too early is Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Now this just comes down to a simple thing of ADP. I get that Mahomes, let's take a look at Mahomes first. Mahomes in his career, the last 2 seasons have been bad, but prior to that, he has shown QB2, QB4, QB2 potential. And granted, one of those seasons was actually without Tyreek Hill as well. Now, he definitely regressed a lot in 23 and 24. Maybe this Chiefs team plays games differently where they're trying to win on defense, and he's kind of a game manager now. So I understand that, but I'm saying that there is some potential upside there, but he's still drafted too early in an ADP of 62. We'll talk about why that's too early. Joe Burrow, a very good player. Even in preseason, he's balling out. He's going to have a high passing touchdown rate. You can see he had the highest passing touchdown rate of his career, boosting him to a QB3 finish in 2024. He was a QB4 finish in points in 2022. The ceiling is there for sure. It's just a matter of a couple things. Health concerns me, and really the price. His ADP is 39. Now, why is that too high? Because 8 spots earlier are the elite cream of the crop quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. All 3 of those players I would put in S tier and Jaden Daniels in S- tier. They all outclass Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and Jaden Daniels just for the rushing upside alone. Jaden Daniels for the rushing yardage upside, and then Jalen Hurts for the rushing touchdown upside, where Jalen Hurts averages 0.9 touchdowns per game over the last 3 seasons from the tush push. So he's already starting out with 6 points without even passing the football once. Then you have Jaden Daniels, who's going to run for a lot of rushing yards. Looking at his average rushing yards per game, 52 rushing yards per game, insane. Then you have Lamar and Josh Allen in their tier of their own. Now the reason I like these guys more, their ADPs, let's just say it's 28 to 32. So you're getting these guys in the middle of round 3, ADP of 28 to 32. So why wait? Like, you're telling me that Joe Burrow is only going 8-9 spots after this tier of elite quarterbacks? Joe Burrow is in a tier of his own, right? Like, there's a tier drop off after Daniels to Burrow and then one from Burrow down, but still 39 is just too expensive for my blood. So quarterbacks, I love going early QB with any of these 4 players. Jaden Daniels in S- tier in my eyes. Now, looking at the next year, we were talking about Mahomes, right? So Mahomes, the reason I don't like Mahomes, he's going an ADP of 62. Then you got guys like Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. So the first 4 quarterbacks, I love taking any of these 4 guys at their current prices. And then I like taking any of these 3 guys at their prices. Bo Nix, Baker, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's getting drafted at his floor, right? Like, if we take a look at Kyler, he's been QB 10 every single year, except for last year, QB 12, and he's currently, getting drafted ADP wise as the QB 9 off boards. So it's kind of getting drafted as his floor in my eyes. He can only kind of play above where he's getting drafted. Now you have Bo Nix, ADP of 87. You have Kyler, ADP of 88. And then Baker, ADP of 63. So Baker's a bit of a riser. So actually Baker at 63 is a bit higher than I thought he would be. That's specifically on ESPN right now. In a lot of drafts, I see these 3 going around the same range. Now, Baker Mayfield, simple fact, he's going to be very good in fantasy for the high passing touchdown rate. Similar to Joe Burrow, he's a Walmart version of Joe Burrow, pass first offense, great weapons at wide receiver. Baker Mayfield's going to be just fine. Bo Nix, year 2 quarterback. Now, don't look at the average. Like, the average points per game is deceptive because if you filtered out just the second half of the year last year, he was way better. The rushing yards averages 25 rushing yards per game, so that's great. The rushing floor right there is amazing. Now, the second half of the season, you can see 30, 30, 20, 21, 22, 34. So Bo Nix is going to have a lot of upside both in the air and the ground this season. And then we already mentioned Kyler. So at QB, avoid Mahomes, avoid Burrow. and try getting any of the 7 guys I mentioned, because there is a bit of a tier drop off. Like if you miss on those guys, then I feel like you're not streaming, but you're kind of chasing. You know, you're using hopium. Like Dak Prescott. Can Dak Prescott get back to being healthy? Because when Dak Prescott's healthy, he's a top 5 quarterback, but he's not healthy. Drake May, you're chasing the upside there. Jared Goff finishes QB7 in 24, chasing the upside. Justin Fields, rushing upside, right? So then you're kind of throwing darts at a dartboard, where I'm pretty confident with the 7 guys I already mentioned. So that's a quick little ADP trap with the quarterbacks. Now we got to look at a tier of rookies. If we just go to the overall rankings. So looking at this tier of rookies, it's around an ADP of 68. You have a lot of running backs in this area. You got Travion Henderson, you got Caleb Johnson, you got RJ Harvey. What I want to recommend right here is draft strategically. You know, there's not many good wide receivers in that range. Like you're looking at Rome Odunze, you're looking at Tony Pollard, he's a running back, not great. He's kind of dusty. David Njoku, Travis Kelce, Matthew Golden, Khalil Shakir, Jawan Jennings, Cooper Kupp. So I'm not taking Cooper Kupp. I'm not taking Jawan Jennings banged up. I'm not taking Matthew Golden over the rookie running back values. Now, Caleb Johnson's a bit of a faller in my eyes. I've been saying all year I'm questioning the pass protection. But RJ Harvey and Travion Henderson I'd much rather have over the dusty wide receivers in this range. So don't fall into the ADP trap of being forced to take wide receiver in this position. Rather, take wide receivers earlier, pass on the running backs, and realize, man, I got to take one of these rookie running backs in round 5 of my draft. And the final thing we got to mention is, again, with running back, this is something very important, just strategically, running back values are insanely bad after Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., and Isaiah Pacheco. We can take a look at the rankings right here on flockfantasy.com. Mason Dodd, the GOAT, nice enough to just use it. You can see, after B-Rob, after Pollard, Judkins, I guess, Tracy, I guess, then it's dust. So if you don't have 3 running backs, 2 RB1s, and then an RB3 type person, RB3 type person, I'm going to say is B-Rob Jr., is Pollard. Through the first 8.5 rounds, you're toast. Why? Because look, Jordan Mason, dusty. ETN, dusty. Like, I actually don't mind the prices of these guys. But what I'm trying to convey is you don't want to start Travis Etienne. You don't want to start Jordan Mason as your RB2 in fantasy. These guys are more just filler depth pieces, right? So really make sure the way you're drafting is strategic. You're going to want to have 3 running backs through the first 8.5 rounds. So usually for me, what that means is I go wide receiver, quarterback, round 1, round 2, then round 3, round 5, and 6. Usually I'm taking my running backs. Round 5 and 6 are more high upside guys. Round 3 is more my staple, right? So round 3, I'll mix in Breece Hall, Kyren Williams. Round 5, round 6, I'll be mixing in some of the rookies, Pacheco, DeAndre Swift, James Conner, Chuba. So that's kind of the way I handle the running back position. ADP gap right there is that after 100, you're looking at some dusty running back names that you don't want to be starting in your lineup. There are sleepers. Javonte's pretty solid. Trey Benson, maybe. Scatabo, yeah, sure. Dobbins, okay. But you don't want to start those guys. Smash the like and subscribe button. There it is. Thanks for watching.